As part of today's class, we are going to discuss about incompletion procedure configuration or incompletion procedure control settings. So I hope you know that we already started this topic. We have started this incompletion procedure configuration or incompletion procedure control settings in our previous class, last week class. In today's class, we will continue to discuss this incompletion procedure process. Okay, so we tried to in our previous class we tried to understand what is the importance of incompletion process or incompletion procedure. Now, how the incompletion procedure help the business, how the incompletion procedure help the business to fulfill day-to-day transactions, and also we understood that where we assign or how we assign these incompletion procedures different levels. So can anyone tell me what are the different levels we can maintain this incompletion procedure process? So I mean you know that we defined we can define different incompletion procedures. I hope you remember we can define different incompletion procedures in the system. So at what level we can assign? Okay, in other words, if I am creating a sales order, what are the different levels I can maintain incompletion checking? What are the different levels I can maintain? I can maintain incompletion procedure, or I can perform incompletion check in the sales order.
Header level, item level.
Very good. So in the sales order, you know that everyone knows that in the sales order we have three different levels, right? The sales order, the sales document structure is divided into three levels, right? The sales document structure or the sales document is divided into three different levels: sales document header level, sales document item level, and sales document schedule and category level. So in other words, header level, item level, and schedule line level. So just know it's not related to today's topic, but I just wanted to check your memory. What is header level data and what is item level data? Why do we have two different levels of data? Why do we have two different levels of data in the sales order?
Header level has details of sales order like sold to party, shipped to party, the amount, PO, whereas the line item has details of the material.
Okay, that's good, but the correct way you can explain is header level data. Whatever the data available at the header level, that is applicable to all the items. Okay, all the items. Whatever the data available at sales order header level, that header level data is same or is applicable for all the items. If you have 10 items or 20 items or 30 materials or 30 items, the header level data is same, like same sold to party, same bill to party, or same inco terms or same payment terms. So this data is same irrespective of what material it is. So that means the data which is applicable to the complete sales document, that data is called as header level data. The data which is relevant or the data which is applicable for all the items in the sales order, that is the header level data. In other words, header level data is applied to all the items, or header level data is relevant for all the items in the sales order. Okay.
Okay, Venkat.
Whereas item data or item level data. So this item level data is applicable to individual item level. So for example, if you go to item 10, so the data which is applicable for item 10, it is only exclusively for item 10, not for the item 20. That means item 20 is having different data. I mean, item 10 is having $10 price in the conditions. You know that, right? In item level, we have conditions. Okay, that is different. I mean, that is different from the item 20, because item 10 is $10, whereas item 20 is $30, whereas item 30 or item 40 is $100. So that means the item data is applicable to particular item, each material or each item, whereas header level data is applicable to all the items. And the schedule line data, it is very simple. Schedule line data within the item, it's basically schedule line data is nothing but schedule line data is nothing but just to specify the schedules, the delivery schedules. Delivery schedule. That means what is the requested delivery date and what is the confirmed quantity. Only those two fields. Okay. What is the requested delivery date and what is the confirmed quantity, or what is the open quantity. So only this information available in the schedule line. But most of the fields, majority of the information is available at header level and individual item level. Everybody clear?
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So now you tell me, if I create incompletion procedure, so at what level we can assign? So like
Customer master level and material master.
No. Did I not explain in the previous class this? Okay. Let me tell you. So if I define the incompletion procedure, or in other words, I can define the incompletion procedure. And assign different levels. In other words, I can define different incompletion procedures. And assign to the different levels. That means I can define XYZ incompletion procedure. I can define an incompletion procedure called XYZ, and under the XYZ incompletion procedure, I can specify 10 fields are mandatory. Okay. Under the let me take Excel. So I can define the incompletion procedure at XYZ. The name is XYZ. Just wait. Let me close it. This is a GTS one. Okay, what I can do, let me explain the incompletion procedure configuration using this Excel, and then when I go to system, it is very easy to understand. Okay, so what I can do, I can create incompletion procedure Z ZZB header. Okay, because I need incompletion procedure for my header level sales document. Okay, header level of the sales transaction, sales document. So what I can do, this is my incompletion procedure. The incompletion procedure name, like name of the procedure, right? We have, for example, A001 for the material listing procedure, and A001 is also for the material determination, like this, right? Or RVA100 for the pricing standard procedure, right? Like this. I need incompletion procedure. The name is this. So under this, what I am doing, I am making payment terms is mandatory. Okay, and then I'm also making inco term mandatory. Okay, and also I can do that sold to party mandatory and ship to party mandatory. So like this, I can make whatever the fields I want. So what I can do, this is the incompletion procedure which I created for header purpose, so that where I can assign to the my sales document, right? My
document types.
Sales document, that is GBOR. So like this, so whatever the incompletion procedure you created for header, you can assign it to the sales document type. So because the sales document type is nothing but assigning the header level. So if you assign anything to the sales document type, it's indirectly like you are controlling something at the header level. In other words, if you want to use the incompletion procedure for sales document type header level, where you need to assign, you have to assign it to the
document types.
Document type. In simple words, if you would like to use incompletion process for sales document header level, then you need to assign the incompletion procedure to the sales document type. This is sales document type. Okay. For example, so for item level, like I need for item level I need a different incompletion procedure. So that is incompletion procedure. One more incompletion procedure. Okay. So this is ZGB. I can give the name whatever I want. Okay. Okay. So like this, I can define the incompletion procedure, and here I can say, okay, I can say quantity. Okay, quantity as mandatory. Okay, and conditions mandatory, or you can say like quantity or shipping point mandatory. Okay, and plant mandatory, right? Okay, so like this I can make whatever the field I want. I want whatever the field I can say like this mandatory. Okay, so mandatory, and then for that is header part, for the header part. Okay, header part. So for item, I created like this. Okay, I created like this, and I made I created this incompletion procedure, and I made this field as mandatory. Now tell me, in order to control item level of the sales order, where do I need to assign this incompletion procedure? So
Item
to what I need to assign this incompletion procedure? The incompletion procedure.
Item level category terminate.
It's not item level. Okay, the terminology is very, very important. It's item category. Okay.
Okay.
To control incompletion process for item level of that item level, you need to assign whatever the incompletion procedure you create for the items. That incompletion procedure you need to assign it to where? Item category. Okay, item category. So if you remember correctly, item category, there are few fields which I told you, like we will discuss later. Item category, we can assign to the item category like TAN. Okay, that means you can assign one incompletion procedure for TAN and one more incompletion procedure for TAN, right? If different item categories can have different, do you think all the item categories or all the items require the same kind of incompletion procedure?
No, it would be different.
It would be different, right? For free of charge items, some fields may be important, whereas the standard item, more fields may be important. Maybe the text item, some other items, some other fields are important. Okay. In the similar way, do you think all the sales document type require the same kind of incompletion procedure?
No.
No, right? Different sales document types require different incompletion procedures. Then what you do? You define different incompletion procedures and specify what fields are important for each procedure, and you assign wherever it is required, whichever the sales document it is you require, you assign it to the sales document type. Okay, so that is creating that incompletion procedure and assign it to the sales document type, and creating the incompletion procedure and assign it to the item categories. And one more level in the sales document, we can assign this incompletion procedure one more level also, that is schedule line level. So that means you can also control, you can also define incompletion procedure for the schedule line data. Okay, the way how you can specify what fields are important for the header level, what fields are important for the item level, and also in the similar way we can also define a different procedure and assign it to the schedule line data based on your requirement. Okay, incompletion procedure. So you can say GGB incompletion schedule line. Okay, so you say like confirmed quantity or open, you can say like delivery date, you can say mandate. Okay, and you can assign it to the schedule line category. Schedule line category. So what are the different schedule line categories? Please, I am expecting one or two, please. What are the standard schedule line categories? It starts with C. Okay, so please refer the recordings. We are almost close to maybe in a month. In a month we will be completing this course. Okay, by May end we will be completing this course. That means before that I am expecting everyone, please keep refer the recordings and understand the basic concept. Now if you go and refer the previous recordings, so what is item category, what it controls, and how the item category is determined, and also what is sales document type, what control settings are available in the sales document type configuration. Okay, and also what is schedule line category, what controls are there, and how it can be determined. Right? We configure the schedule line category by specifying some control settings, and in the second configuration we tell the system how the schedule line category has to be determined in the sales order. Right? Am I correct? So what I will do, like once I complete this topic and availability check and transfer of requirements, which is very, very important. Okay, and then credit management. Credit management actually we can discuss or we may not be discussed because it has been moved to like FSCM. Previously it was the responsibility of the SAP SD consultant to handle the credit management. So, but going in the current system, still it is SAP SD consultant. But if a client move to the SAP S/4HANA, then it will go to the, like you can say that FSCM, like finance consultant. But we will discuss. Let me explain that also. So once we finish that, what I am going to do, I am going to revise for 1 week. I am going to revise all the configurations and all the determinations. Okay, all the configurations, the sales document type configuration, what it controls, how it will be having impact in the sales order. Okay, and also what is item category and what it controls in the sales order and how it is determining. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain I'm going to repeat all the configurations and all the determinations, like schedule and category determination, item category determination. Okay, and also there are some other determinations like plant determination, shipping point determination, and we also need to discuss two more determinations: route determination and storage location determination. Very small concepts. We will also discuss that. Okay. So while closing the session, I will repeat all those things, and this concludes the the standard course of SAP SD. And apart from this, there are three more special scenarios or the special topics. That is intercompany sales process and third party sales process, consignment. So these three we will discuss after once you start practicing and all, once you get familiar with the system, then we will have it later, not urgent, but I would like to complete by May end. Availability check, transfer requirements, crate management, route determination, and storage location determination, and anything is left over, that one also. And finally, while closing the course, I wanted to repeat sales document type configuration, delivery document type configuration, billing document type configuration, especially condition type configuration. It has many control settings. You remember the configuration of the condition technique is having very important control settings. Anyone remember? Okay, that also, and along with that, I'm also repeating, I'm also revising item category determination, schedule and category determination, and also this shipping point, plant, route, and storage location determination. Okay, all these things will conclude, the standard SAP SD process. And now it is your responsibility to start creating the transactions. And after completing this one class, after completing incompletion process, before starting the availability check, I wanted to demonstrate order, delivery, goods issue, billing, complete, one or two classes will completely spend on, working on the complete cycle, the sales cycle, creating the order, creating the delivery, creating the goods issue, and creating the billing. Okay. And what kind of issues you come across during this creation process. Okay. This will help you to understand, better way availability check and transfer requirements. The reason is, in order to understand availability check and transfer requirements, you need to have very strong basic knowledge of the standard SD model. It is not just like that, and we can understand availability check or transfer requirements. So it is very complex topic and very useful topic. So that's the reason I did not start at, but we will start after, once I feel that you are very good at all the topics what we have completed so far. So I request you all before the next class, I would like to start the availability check next week. Okay. This week I am going to demonstrate this one, system, order, delivery, goods issue, billing, and route and storage location. This is the target. But before the next week, please create transactions from your end. Since I am going to create this week, today evening and tomorrow morning, I'm going to explain this route and creation of the transactions, and you have to do the same thing by referring the recordings and all before the next week. That will help you to understand availability check easily. Okay. Okay, coming back. So like this, we can define different incompletion procedures, and we can assign these incompletion procedures to the sales document type and item category and the schedule line category. So the standard schedule line categories are CP and CM. Okay. Standard schedule line category is CP. It is for, if CP is available in the sales order, for example, if CP available in the sales order, what does it mean? Anyone remember?
Is it standard price?
What is it, Umera?
I said, is it a standard price? I don't know.
No. So
MRP?
Yes. Please refer, MRP is correct. For example, so if you go to the schedule lines, so what is it?
CP.
CP. So CP means what? If CP is determined for this item 10, okay, and we have a quantity 10, what the system will do?
It is giving the MRP price for that.
No, not price.
One.
Not price. Okay.
You repeat it.
Okay. Based on the item schedule, based on the schedule line category CP, the system understood that because it is configured such a way. System understood that I have to transfer the quantity of 10. I have to transfer the quantity of 10 requirement. So this is the required quantity, right? This is my requirement. This is my requirement. So
Yes.
if CP is determined in the sales order for the item, any item, if CP is determined for the item in the sales order, then system understood that, okay, I have to transfer this 10 requirements. I have to transfer this quantity of 10 requirements to the production department because they are the people who produce, right? They are the people who produce. And also, if CP is available for this item, system understood that, okay, I have to check the availability check. I have to perform the availability check and confirm the goods. Okay, if CP is available, what the system will understood? System understand I have to perform, I have to execute the availability check for this 10 quantity. That means whether the 10 quantity is available or not, and then it will confirm. Because the CP is configured. If you go to the configuration of the CP, for example, if you go and look at the configuration control of schedule and category CP, V6, I think.
Venkat, doesn't the schedule line always does a availability check?
No, it depends. Sometimes we may not need. Okay, let me show you. So this is CP, right? Okay. If you go and see, so what it is there? So transfer the requirements. So transferring the requirements and you are asking the system perform the availability check and confirm the goods. Okay. For example, anytime, even if I am not available, even if I miss in any recording, any field, what you can do, you can click on F1. Okay. If you click on F1, it will understand. Okay. So transfer requirements to be carried out for the respective transaction. So if you want, like if you do not want to transfer the requirements, then you do not need to check it. If you want to transfer the requirements, you need to activate it. So there is something else also, but I will explain later. Okay, there is something else also, I will explain. That is part of the availability check. But basic level, you can ask the system whether the requirements has to be transferred or not. Whether the transfer of the requirements process has to be carried out or not. If you activate it, the requirements will be transferred. If you deactivate it, the requirements will not be transferred. Okay, and availability check. So if you click on again F1, it will tell. Okay, so when you click on it, the system makes sure carry out an availability check for the transaction. Okay, so like this, it will take care. Whereas if you go to the CN, the standard I'm talking, okay, you can change the name. If you go to the CN, no MRP. So no availability check and no MRP. There are some other settings as well, but these are the major control settings what it does. And other than this, what we are assigning here, incompletion procedure also assigned. That is what I am telling. Okay, so we can define the incompletion procedure and we can assign that incompletion procedure to the test schedule line category. Okay, and in a similar way, if I go to the item category, V7, I will give the T codes today evening or tomorrow morning. That's all the standard T codes for SD transaction codes. Okay, so it has many settings, right? Item category control many settings. Based on the item category which you determine in the sales order, the system can understand that whether that item is relevant for the billing or not, whether that item has any billing block or not, whether that item is relevant for the pricing or not, whether that item is relevant for the delivery or not. If it is like, a text item. Generally text items you do not need to deliver, right? If you want, you can activate. If you want to deliver the text also, okay, as part of your delivery process, you can activate it. So like this, whether the item has to be determined the cost or not. Like this, there are many settings, there are many controls. Along with this, what we are assigning here?
Incompletion procedure.
That is what I was telling. Okay, like this, we will assign the incompletion procedure to the item category also. In the similar way, VO V8. VO V8. 6, 7, 8, correct. So 6 is the configuration of the schedule line category control settings. 7 is configuration of the control settings for item category. 8, VO V8. 8 is for the configuration of the control settings for the sales document type. Okay. So here there are many control settings, right? So if you remember, for example, it tells based on the sales document type, the system understand what kind of document it is, whether it is a sales order, whether it is a quotation, whether it is contract, right? We can understand any document based on the sales document category what we are assigning here, and also the number assigned to the system according to the number range interval which you are assigning, right? You remember? So how the sales document is given,
Yes,
the sales document, how the number is getting with the help of
the number ranges.
And when I enter the item, you remember correctly, sometimes it can give 10, 20, 30, 40, or sometimes it can give 100, 20, and 300, or sometimes 1000, 2000, 3000, line by line. What it is controlling? This is right.
Item number increment.
So if you say 10, first material will give the 10, second material will give the 20, third material will give the 30. If you say 100, first item it will give the item 100, second material it will give the item 200, like that. So like this, it has the document type has many control settings. Along with that, okay. So we will also assign incompletion process as well.
It's above, Venkat. It's little above. If you scroll, it is there up.
See,
yeah.
So under this 11, under the incompletion procedure 11, under the incompletion procedure 11, we tell the system what field. Okay, under 11, if you go on, that's what I'm going to discuss in a few minutes. So we'll go there and we'll discuss configuration control settings. Okay, and not only that, we will also how the delivery date is determining. See how the delivery date is determining, because you are saying that you propose the delivery date, and how the PO date is determined in the sales order. There is PO date in the sales order, right?
Yes, Venkat. In the header level.
Please understand, okay, how this delivery date is coming, or how this PO date is coming. Okay, how this price
document type.
Yes, how this it is controlled in the document type. Okay, proposed pricing date. Okay, proposed delivery date, and the delivery lead time. How many days it has to take into consideration to determine the delivery date. So like this, it has many functionalities like sales document type, delivery document type, billing document type. We already discussed all those document type configuration. We already completed the configuration of item category. We already completed the configuration of schedule line category. Okay, and also we completed the configuration of the condition type also. Okay, please, very important. The whole sales document is most of the fields are controlled using the document. So once you specify the document type, while creating, you specify the document type, right? When you specify the document type and get into the next screen, whatever the control settings you specified here, according to that, the field will be determined. Most of the fields will be determined. That means, in order to reduce the effort for the business user, we provide all the control settings in the document type, so that the business user does not need to enter the delivery date, business user does not need to enter the pricing date. If they want, they can change, but at least they can save the time, right? Understood, Swati?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me go to the, okay. So like this, just explain one more thing. Okay. And we define the incompletion process, and we can assign through the sales document type for header level control, item category for item level control. We can assign the incompletion procedure for the schedule line category to control the fields of the schedule line, and also we can assign schedule line. We can define and assign incompletion procedure for the delivery document type. Okay, delivery document type, right? To create the delivery, what we need to specify. So if I go to the VL01N, okay, we use the delivery type, right? We use the delivery type. So based on the order which you are entering, system will take the corresponding delivery type, or you can enter any delivery type. So what you can do, you can define a incompletion procedure, and you assign that incompletion procedure to the delivery type also. And also delivery level also we have item category. You remember? Delivery level also we have item category. That
Yes.
to control the delivery item fields, to control the delivery item fields incompletion status, which field is important for the delivery item, which field is not important. What we can do, we can define different incompletion procedure, and we can assign to the delivery item category. Okay. So you have to go through the recordings multiple times. Okay. So go to SPRO to perform the configurations for the incompletion control settings. So this is define the incompletion procedure. Okay. Define incompletion procedure, first configuration. Okay. I told you, right? We can define the incompletion procedure header level. We can define the incompletion procedure item level. We can define the incompletion procedure schedule line level. We can define the incompletion procedure the delivery header level. We can define the incompletion procedure the delivery item category level. And partner level also we can define, but generally we don't use partner level. Also we can do, but we do. Once you understand this, you will understand everything. Okay. For example, so if you want to define incompletion procedure for your header level of the sales document, then what you need to do, you have to go to the procedure. See, there are multiple procedures. So what you can do, sales order, right? You can copy this. Let me go to the change mode. Okay. So copy this and change the name. If you want to have your, if you want to use your own, if you want to use your own incompletion procedure, what you can do, you can say G1. Okay. You can say G1, and you can say incompletion procedure for Genovas. Genovas sales order SO. Okay. And hit enter. So copy all means all the fields which are already defined there. So if you go to the fields, you can see there. You see. So what are the mandatory fields? The mandatory
Item.
document date, document currency, Incoterms, pricing, date. So if you want to make any new field, you can go to the, so the table for the sales order header is VBAK. Okay. The table for sales order header is VBAK. VBAK. I will explain you. Maybe like the coming classes, I will also start talking about the tables. Okay. You also need to understand. You also need to start understanding that. Okay. VBAK and select whatever the field you want to make mandatory. So if you want to make division as a mandatory, SPERT, division, if you want to make that, or if you want to make sales organization as a mandatory, sales group as a mandatory, okay. So like this, whatever the field it is, you want to make it mandatory during your header document. For example, if I go to the sales document, so if you want to know any field name, if you want to know any field name, you can click on F1, selecting the field, select the field and click F1. Then system automatically tells you the table name, okay, and the field name. That I will explain. So let me find any other. So let me make I wanted to the PO number as mandatory. So BS, okay. So I want to make Incoterms also mandatory. What I can do? So let me make division also mandatory here. Okay. And save it. Okay. Sorry. And what I can do? I can go to whatever the table. Okay. VBKD. Okay. I can specify the field name. Okay. So what is the field name for the Incoterm? Inco 1. Okay. Okay, it's already like mandatory field. We already maintain this. Like this, you can add any field under the incompletion status. And you can save it. Okay. Basically, first of all, what you need to do, you have to define the procedure. Okay. You have to define the procedure. Under the procedure, you can define the fields. You can define the each field. You can define the each field, what is important, what is mandatory during the system process. During the system process, whatever the field you wanted to control, you can assign that. And also what you can do, for each field you can specify, for each field we can specify, okay, whether system should give any warning message. Each field you can specify whether the system can give the warning message if user does not make an entry. That means if I miss the Incoterms, what the system is doing, or if I miss the payment terms, what the system is doing, the system is telling please enter the Incoterms, right? While creating, why the system is saying that it is enter the Incoterms? Because I made in the configuration that a warning message has to be notified when user does not make an entry during the transaction process. So that you can use this for getting the warning message for giving the warning messages to your users when they do not make an entry, then system, if they want warning message, you can say give the warning message whenever they miss the any required field. So this is what we can do as part of definition. So this is the process what we do while defining the incompletion procedure. So the way how you define the incompletion procedure for the header, in the similar way, even for the item level also, you can define the incompletion procedures. Okay. So the standard incompletion procedure for item level. The standard incompletion procedure for item level is this one, 20, and you can go and specify like fields. These are the fields like pricing is important, plant is important, okay, Incoterms is important, pricing date is important, terms of payment is important, okay, and the description of the material is important, gross weight is important. So like this, order quantity is important. So whatever the fields are mandatory, okay, so those fields you can specify under the each procedure. So in the similar way, even for the schedule line category also, okay, you can specify. The standard schedule line procedure is 30, and you can go to the fields. There you can specify the loading date, material availability date, goods issue date. Like this, you can make these fields are mandatory. Whenever these fields are missing, system will give the warning message. Okay. Sometimes it can also stop the transaction. That will control little later. Okay. Let me go back. So this is the way how you can define the incompletion procedure. You can copy the existing one and give your own name, or directly you can use you can change the standard incompletion procedure and you can assign it to your document type. So generally people will copy it and change the name to their own names and then use it, and then they will assign it to the respective level. If it is for the sales document header, they will assign to the sales document type. If it is for an item level, they will assign to the item category. If it is schedule line level, they will assign to the schedule line category. So everybody clear how to configure the incompletion process? Very easy. Select it for header. You can get into the header. Go to the procedures. Okay. The standard procedure 11 for the sales order and copy it. Give your own name. If the fields are okay, keep the same fields and save. If you want new fields, enter that, specify the table and select the fields and save it. Basically, the business user will tell you. You don't need to worry. What fields are important or for what fields it has to stop transaction. This information will be given by the business. The business will give the requirement. How to configure, how to control the system. Then you will do that. Okay. You don't need to know what field is mandatory for them, right? We don't know, right? Some people, different people want different fields. As a consultant, very high level, you can control something like payment terms, Incoterms, whatever you can project, whatever you can assume that it's important for the business, you can do. In addition to that, if any new fields are important, business will tell you. According to that, you can configure. So, can I go to the next configuration?
Okay, Venkat.
And one more thing, when I explain anything, you have to do the same thing in the system, okay, before the next week class. So that way, you will not miss it. So if you do not practice on the system, it is not that easy to remember. Actually, SAP is like this. Even the person who is having 10-15 years of experience, if he just is on leave for 1 or 2 months, when he come back, he find a little difficulty for 1 or 2 days. For a couple of days, he is feeling little different to the system. So that's the reason you always need to touch base with the system. You always need to refer. You always need to practice. So till you get the job, you need to keep touch base with the system. You should not just listen the classes and leave it like that. Okay. So once you define the procedures, okay, what you need to do? You have to assign the procedures, right? So you can assign the procedures. You can assign there, as I already explained, you can assign the procedures during the configuration of the sales document type, or basically that you don't have assigned there, but if you assign here, you can see there. So actual assignment of the incompletion procedure to the document type, incompletion procedure to the item category, incompletion procedure to the schedule and category, it happens we made in the incompletion procedure control settings. Once you assign it, you can see there. You already seen, right? In few minutes back we have seen, right? How it was available there? Because we assign here. Okay. See, each sales document, whatever the incompletion procedure you want. GBO.
So Venkat, I had a question. So when we are configuring document type and everything, then only if there will be an option, right, in completion log. So we
basically, okay, if you are completely configuring the new document type without copying the existing one, then you can assign there also.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But generally, sales document and all, we never, just configure a new document directly. We always take the reference of the document because there are many fields. You get confused. Okay, that's why no consultant will create, a document altogether. I mean, for example, what is the T code? VO
V8.
V8 for the configuration of the
document type.
I think, okay, I opened here, right? Okay, so no consultant will go like this. Okay, go enter, like ZBOR like this. No consultant will do like this. Okay, everyone.
Yes.
Copy. Like if I go back, copy and
it
saves lot of time. It saves lot of time. Everyone go to the, if they need document type for the standard order process, they copy the OR. Select it. Okay, and change the name. And we change the fields whatever we want. Okay, here we can change. Okay, the standard SAP has given some field controls, but if you want different approach, for example, SAP has given 10 increment. You want 100, you can put 100. Okay, for the sub item SAP has given, you can say 101 like this. Okay, SAP has given number range intervals. You can change it to your own number range interval. So like this, wherever the changes required, you can change, but by copying the existing one. Okay, and anyway, this incompletion procedure you do not have, even when you try to create the new document, you do not have that option. You always have to do it in the here only.
Okay.
Okay, we assign.
Yes,
okay, we assign the incompletion procedure to the document types or item categories. For example, let me assign our item category, our incompletion procedure to our document type. We just created one incompletion procedure, right? Sorry, assign. Okay, so GBOR 11 is already there, but I created the new one Z1, right? So I can assign this Genova's incompletion procedure for the sales order header. So like this, we can assign. Okay, in the similar way, whatever we define it to, whatever you define for the item level, you can assign it to the item categories. Okay, in the previous step, whatever we define the procedure, you can assign it to item category. In the similar way, whatever the incompletion procedure you defined in the previous configuration for schedule and category, that we can assign to the schedule and categories. Okay, for CP or C1, it's up to you. C1, it is already having 30. If you create like Z30 or G0, you can configure in the previous configuration and tell the system what fields are mandatory, and then you can assign it to CP. Like this. Understood? Do I need to explain more, or you understood?
No, we understood.
Shailaja, Vivek.
Yes, Venkat, you're good. Just one question, Venkat. Like what control setting says that whether the document can be saved,
Yes,
even though we don't.
That is the next step. That once I finish,
Oh,
it, I will go there.
okay.
Okay. So like this, you can assign to the delivery document type, or partner functions, or you can assign to the delivery document type. Okay. If I close it, the next thing is now we are just to give, as of now, whatever the configurations we made so far, it is just saying the system, okay, whether is there any warning message if user does not make this entry in the whether system. As of now, whatever we understood, so we understood that based on the Incompletion procedures, based on the okay. So based on the Incompletion procedure, whatever we defined here, so we are just telling the system, is there any warning message required if user does not make an entry for these fields, right? That is only we have. But nowhere we mention that whether the system allows you to save the transaction, or the system should not allow you to like save the transaction, or the system should stop the subsequent transaction. We did not specify anywhere, right? For example, if the fields are incomplete, is it good to create the delivery document? No, right?
No.
It's not good to create the subsequent document. But somewhere it has to, we need to tell the system, stop the, first what we can do, first control we can say, stop saving the sales order, right? The first control, stop saving the sales order. Sometimes it is not good to stop saving the sales order because the user may be not familiar, but he wanted to enter later, okay? He wanted to enter the fields later. He may not be having the information upfront. The user may not be having the information upfront, or that information may not be required, that time, but maybe later time it is required. I mean, while creating the order, we may not need to enter all the data, right? We may not need to enter all the data, but the data, there is something else which may be required later point of time for the subsequent process. I mean to say that when while creating the order, just in order to save the sales order, we may just need some basic data, and there are some fields which can be entered in the change mode. After creating the sales order, he can come back and update it, but he may not have that information upfront. He can enter later in the change mode. He can change the sales order, right? Am I correct?
Yes, you can update it.
That means there are two different cases. One whether you wanted to allow the sales order to save it or not. The other case, whether you wanted to allow the sales order and stop the subsequent process if he is not entering later point. If he is not entering the data later point, or before creating the next transaction, you can tell, okay, it is okay now, but before creating the subsequent document, the data has to be important. So that kind of requirement also there, right? While creating the order, it is okay. But while creating the delivery, there are some other fields. He can enter, by going to the change mode in the sales order, he can enter, save it, right?
Yes, Venkat.
So it is like this, for example. While creating the sales order, you may not have the price. Am I correct? You may not know the price, at first moment. So just because of price, if the system is stopping the user to save the sales order, is it good?
No, it can be determined later as well.
Because the headquarter is not transfer the price today. But I have to create the order. I received the order, but I don't know the price. What I can do, I create the order, and then whenever I receive the price from the headquarter, then what I can do, I can go to the change mode of the sales order. I can go to like this. I can go to VA02. Okay. Now the price is not there. But once I receive the price, what I can do? I can go to the
Update the conditions.
I can update the condition, or I can manually enter the price, whatever it is. So that means in order to save the sales order, is the price mandatory? In order to create the sales order, price may not be mandatory, right? But in order to create the delivery, if I want to create the delivery for this order, if I want to create the delivery for this order, is it good to create the delivery without the price?
No, it is mandatory. All the terms become mandatory.
That means what? It has to allow the save the transaction, but it has to stop the subsequent transaction whenever the price is missing. That is the second requirement, right?
Yes.
Okay. These kind of things we will control in the next configuration. Okay. Try to understand what I'm trying to tell. Okay. I'm trying to give the business reason. Okay. Before I go to any configuration. Okay. This is the defining and this is the assigning. And here the status group. Using the configuration of the status group, okay, for each status group. So let us do one thing. It takes like 30 more minutes. We will discuss in the evening. Okay, we will discuss evening. The status group concept we will discuss evening. Okay.
Okay.
Evening 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 EST. Okay. Today we will complete this, and also we will create a couple of transactions if time permits. Take care. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Venkat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you. Thank you.